welcome to the Irrational Time Studio. That's right. Designed by a boomer. This is where the whimsy is made. Featuring a 1980s triple keyboard, Star Trek bucket chairs. Wow! Is that a lava lamp? That's cool and fun. With novelty-sized studio lighting. Totally unnecessary. And walls that only a stalker would envy. Thank you, and we hope that you will enjoy yourself.
This is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent.
Just soup.
They're innocent people. These are just protesters. Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting?
It is.
It is. And by the way, the media
Protesting
knows it
and
better than we do. They know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're doing our country a tremendous disservice, I'll say that. But in cities all across our nation, we've seen our police officers so badly assaulted.
With soup. But every time he said soup, I just heard this song in my head. It was this part. Right? And then he was just
soup,
like,
you can really put some, but a can of soup, you can, but a can of soup, you can really put some power in. Can of soup, you can really put some power. Can of soup, you can really put some power in.
okay, I'm sorry. My fucking brain did that yesterday when he was going the fuck off about soup.
And I never ramble. I'm highly intelligent. I'm actually an IQ of a genius. And actually, I was not born a genius. I really actually became a genius with a lot of hard work. And that is because I watched a bunch of TED Talks that told me that, yes, the experts went on there and they said, yes, you can make your brain smarter. The only problem with becoming a genius is that, yes, you have a lot more thoughts going on up there.
But what's behind the door? Find out next year. Or what's behind the wall, I mean. What's behind the wall of winners? Find out next year.
Victor, 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 V-I-C-T-O-R, Victor, 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 V-I-C-T-O-R, Victor. Victor.
How do you guys like my dancing lullaby intro? I found him today.
Around the holidays, everything starts to look, sound, and taste a little better. But don't be fooled by those other canned food YouTube channels that claim to have the tastiest editing around. Are you suspicious yet? Well, don't be. Because this holiday season, the only YouTube channel you'll want to fill your tin can with is Curious Holiday Luncheon Meat. Edgy content with professional editing and an aftertaste that will leave your family, well, curious. Curious to which holiday it is. This processed canned food is non-denominational. Maybe we're Muslim. Maybe we're Jewish. Maybe we're Catholic. We may even be atheists. Well, probably not, but we'll never tell. Religion has no place on YouTube or processed food. But the important thing to remember is this was the first YouTube channel to combine politics, comedy, and processed meat in a can. So when you think of quality YouTube videos, I want you to think of Curious Holiday Luncheon Meat. Thank you, and good day.
Ian Michael, Glass Art, head of the British Garage Door Repairers and Glassmakers Association, Lord Clarence Cobblepot. Well, I truly have no hesitations to suggest Ian Michael is a visionary, possibly the most wonderful, talented glassmaker we've ever seen, of this generation. I recommend him to all of our service members and all of our union members who require only the best in quality. Ian Michael Glass Art, not just dildos and butt plugs.
The world is a terrible place, full of terrible people doing terrible things. Thankfully, there's a weekly live stream that doesn't sugarcoat it for you. Join Major Tom Saturdays at 10 p.m. for The Big Empty. That's Major_Tom on D Live. Make sure to use zeros for O's because your life really is that hard.
Do you enjoy podcasts that discuss important issues, debating topics that have an impact on our way of life, while offering alternative solutions to making productive changes in our world? That's great. But when you get sick of that, get your ass over to the Cousin Joe Show and enjoy some refreshing conversation about fireworks, past drug use, current drug use, and how rock music was perfected in 1994. With every episode comes a 100% guarantee that Joe Coletta will piss in a bottle live on air. So please join notorious bad friend Joe Coletta and handsome cousin Dan for the Cousin Joe Show, Thursdays at 7 p.m. live at YouTube.com/Cousin Joe.
Remember, the secret to perfection is imperfection. We got some catchphrases.
Hi, I'm Adonis Paul, food and beverage administrator of Adonis Paul's Pleasure Palace Hotel, Casino, Resort, and Gun Range. I'm here to cordially invite you to join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening at 11 p.m. Central for Late Night with Adonis Paul, broadcast live from fabulous Los Tejas. Join me here at the Palace for a live, interactive, animated clip show experience like no other. 3 times a week, we take a look at the best and worst things humanity has caught on video in the last 48 hours. A global cross-section of human despair and hilarious folly. But that's not all. While you're here, play dirty slots and choose your preferred killer and method to end the suffering of a member of my clone staff. Pit my alien son against all odds. Or if you're in the mood for more sophisticated gentlemen's entertainment, check out my Adonis Paul dancers. We've got it all on Late Nights. It's 2 hours of entertainment for discerning gentlemen who appreciate the need to turn your brain off for a couple hours and have a few laughs at the expense of people who are having a worse week than you. It's a cheeseburger for your mind. It's not good for you, but it sure does taste great. I say with no small amount of humility that Late Night with Adonis Paul is the greatest late night show in the history of the world. And if you watch it, all of your wildest dreams will surely come true. The citizens of Los Tejas and I invite you to become one of our new friendly friends and join us for Late Night. We'll see you there.
Hello, my name is Frozen Asian, and I'd like to tell you about my show, The Sunday Night Shit Show, every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Along with good conversations and laughing at funny and weird shit we find on the internet, we also have the Hat Cam, where I showcase my myriad of great-looking hats.
What kind of hat is Frozen wearing today? fun and cool, or super gay.
I hope your next hat is a bullet.
And there you have it. So subscribe to the Sunday Night Shit Show at youtube.com/Sunday Night Shit Show. And hope to see you there on Sunday nights. Bye.
As another year comes to the end, we like to celebrate Christmas with our friends and family. Well, I just got a telegram here from Royce and Mersch. They want to pass on their warmest wishes for this holiday season. And all the best into the new year.
Ho, ho, ho! Hello, everybody! It's me, Old Saint Nick. I've been watching you kids all year round, and I have to say, you've been extra good this year, so here's a little something for you.
It looks like it's December again. Time to check on all of our friends and wish them all a very Merry Christmas time. Even if it's for just one night, maybe Earl won't make his whole family fight. If that's true, please comment down below. It's the birthday of Jesus and Thomas Murphy knows. So let's put it all aside tonight. It may be hard, but let's get along for the ROTC Christmas. The year's been long, but the love's still strong. It's an ROTC Christmas. Frankie B. Flats exposed the biggest lie. It's that Santa is really alive. Coming tonight to the good girls and boys, like the Cooking Goth and the Dusty Bogan. Santa Claus always knows, 'cause Teddy Hart and Shandy for Christ are getting cold. But we can always turn it around. Give a fingers up to all of our pals. It's an online Christmas. To all the interesting folks to be found, it's an ROTC Christmas. It may be hard, but let's all get along for the ROTC Christmas. The year's been long, but the love's still strong for the ROTC Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho! Well, from me and Mrs. Claus, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Static Void, don't fuck with IT.
It's come to my attention that still people are not listening to me, and I know what's best for them. So please, just everyone, we have to stop everything because people are getting sick, and you know, and I know that everyone's getting sick, and just please stop, just listen to me, because I've always wanted socialism and communism, and now, get back there, what you doing? And now, Now, it's time for my socialism plan to come true. And I know that no one believes in it, but I'm going to keep telling it over and over again, and we're going to play it on the news so that you believe me. Finally, we're going to shut it down. Because yes, we're going to, for goodness sakes, we're going to listen to me, and we're going to do no more working. Everyone stop working, making money. Stop having fun. Stay inside. Now, just work, no more work. And we're going to work you from the government. The government's going to be your new boss. I'm going to be your new boss. I tell you, you stay inside. Don't get out. Listen, we're the government, and we know what to do for you. You have to listen to us. Socialism's good for you. Bread lines are good. Everyone loves bread lines. Stop it. Just shut it down and work less. Go out. Never. I know what's good for you. Me. I know what's good for you. Listen.
This just in. The global officials that can help all, also known as Got You, have now banned all boogieing and boogie-related movements worldwide. Public safety is the main concern, they say, and people are reminded that boogieing is contagious. Anyone caught boogieing will be dealt with in the harshest terms police have reported. More at 11.
Remember, officer, when you're out on the job, remember your training. You know how to handle this. Don't forget, SMENS.
How's she going, boys?
Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, accidentally named Irrational Times. He's got a microphone and his very own YouTube show. Sounds way better, video's clear. Hey JJ Stoner.
Now the midgets are here. It's Thomas's bikini birthday party. No, Thomas, no, Thomas, no, Thomas, no.
We don't need any makeup, we've got some real clowns.
But what you have to understand is that I'm smarter than you. We all need rules, that's rule number 1. Those were the days.
Because everybody wants to be wild and free. The truth is so brutal, so is Lacey Marie.
So if you want some entertainment on a Thursday night, check out the Cousin Joe show, cause they're doing it right. R, are you ready for this? L, for the losers who always get pissed. Everybody loves Sammy. Everybody hates baked. Don't fuck with the mustache. Don't fuck with the mustache. No, you never fuck with the mustache, or I'll just die to tell. Hey Tim, your show really sucks. Shirts Off Friday.
Take 'em off.
We love the Shirts Off Friday. Nobody thinks they really beat you, but now we want to see Earl get beat down. I'm a disco Jew and a bear.
Enjoy the joy of Pepsi.
If we're going down, let's go down with a boogie. Come on, boogie bumper, everybody go boogie bumper tonight.
Andy's random edits. Andy's random edits. catching puss and playing sports.
It's Trenton Wade. He's heading to the protest and he's gonna get laid.
Politics sucks. Enough is enough. But I can't stop talking about that stuff.
The census cowboy lost his way. You ask too many questions in the hood, they don't play. Money Blaine, it's a way of life with Charlie Sheen's our ex-wife and some guy that looks like D.L. Hughley. Money Blaine. Nighttime is the right time for the midnight crock pot.
Wow. It appears we really are living in irrational times.
Super coupon trip. You guys better watch yourselves this time around, because if I get any of the same fucking messages I got on my last YouTubes, I am reporting it to the FBI. I'm not tolerating it any fucking more. And I'm not kidding. Stoner. Keep it up. Rational times. Say one foul thing, and I promise you I will be contacting the FBI and cybercrimes. It will be the end of your little fucking cult. I know, and I'm glad to see. And AJ, you gotta admit, it's a little strange. But as soon as Kitty finds me, then you're here. I've had this channel for weeks. Weeks. Kitty B finds me, I got you, I got Rational Times, this fellow in the metal. You can't tell me that that's not strange. You can't tell me that that's coincidental. And I'm sorry I had to change channels. I got in trouble for wearing my maid outfit. Yeah, but you know what? How long did it take you to find me, Kitty? And you're the one I least wanted. And I will be reporting this to the FBI.
Bet you all think I'm muted, but I don't think I am. Welcome.
I bet you are.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Not at all.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe? Well, have faith. Have faith.
Like George Michael said, you got to have faith.
Yeah, George Michael is someone we should all be looking up to for faith in these trying times.
Oh, Paul, you're so sweet.
Oh, thank you. No plank? We're not going to open up the letter and it's going to like be like, what did they get all the politicians with it? They tried
Anthrax.
to... Thank you. The anthrax fake scare of 2002 or 1, whatever it was. That's no plank. That was a plank. Anyways, that's good evening. And tonight we have a special guest coming on in a few minutes. And it's so funny. I knew there were some things I wanted to say before I brought on the lovely guest we have. Yeah.
What do you want to say?
Welcome
Take
to every.
the mic.
Welcome to everybody.
Well, you did that.
Oh, I already welcomed everyone. Well, okay. Well, I guess that's over. No
That's
more
all
welcoming.
You have to say?
No more welcoming. No, I don't know.
Goodbye.
I just feel like there has to be a little bit of lead in.
Okay.
Before that. Yeah. So we have a very special guest today. She's the host of. Well, actually, while I talk about this, I should probably get her on Skype.
Yeah.
That might help because,
Think you're like technology savvy or something.
I know I'm so so technologically savvy. So let's see here. Let's see if we just. Oh, how do I? Never mind.
Well, where did it go?
Yeah. Let's see how this works.
Oh, this reminds me of Cousin Joe.
Oh yeah, is this when the time Joe and Dan called in?
No, every time Royce used to call.
She can hear us, or I can hear her.
I can hear her.
Can she hear us?
Oh
no!
I certainly can.
Oh, beautiful! Wow. Okay, that's great. One sec. Let me just wait till I get you up on screen here. Right now, I just wanted to take before I did that. I wanted just to make sure that we had you all nice and proper. Oh, we do. Look at that. And so here we go. Introducing our guest tonight. We have Kim from the podcast Booze and Bourbon. And also, she is on the show Hunted on Eastlink TV. And, well, that's about all I can think of, other than she's an awesome person. And welcome to the show.
Guys.
It's Kim.
Yay. Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited to be on your show.
Oh, well, thanks for being here, for sure. It's, we, around here, we like to talk about different things, and we've never really touched upon anything like this other than, we've had some run-ins with some ghost hunters before, but they were, it was under different circumstances, and we can talk about that later, but that's beside the point. So, I guess you have a show called Booze and Bourbon, and you focus it on two things, not just ghosts, but booze.
No, also on this fun stuff.
What are you drinking right now?
It's actually called 1792, and it is a single barrel Kentucky straight bourbon.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's really tasty.
See, watch this. Okay, look, and did that? And no reaction. Look at that. She's tough. Not a flinch. I only say this
Tough as
because
nails. That's what the ghosts do to you.
I was watching a podcast last night, Remain Nameless, where a gentleman, a friend of the show's, took a shot, and the reaction he had, it made me laugh after watching you girls and on your podcast, and how you just get that whiskey in there, and it doesn't even faze you.
Take it like
so
a champ.
No, not at this point. I've had too much, I guess.
maybe. Well, hopefully not today. Hopefully you're, not too inebriated.
No, I'm on my A game for you guys. I'm very excited. I mean, I really don't know what to expect here, so I am hoping that I actually have something to contribute to your show.
Oh man.
Well, look, we'll get to all kinds of things. We have we've taken some not questions, but some ghost stories from some of our friends on Twitter, so we can get to that in a little bit. And I think most of the chat are raging alcoholics, so there'll be any kind of booze talk will be great. So I'm generalizing.
Sounds great. Can't wait.
But Kim, I want to hear about your show on Eastlink, because I have a hard time finding it right now here in Cape Breton for some reason. I was trying to Google it and YouTube it or whatever, but maybe you can explain a little bit about what the show is. Haunted. It's called. Haunted's a different show.
Yeah, so
go ahead, please.
It is currently only available on Eastlink. So unless you're an Eastlink subscriber, you're not going to be able to find it.
Right.
But if you are an Eastlink subscriber, it comes on every Saturday night at 10 p.m. And basically, it's a bit of a documentary series / ghost hunting series. So there is a continuous storyline that goes on. So when I became part of the show, it was just quite recently. So I have filmed all of season 5, and we're partway through filming season 6 right now. And we have traveled for season 5. We went to one location in New Brunswick, but the rest is all in Nova Scotia. And so far, season 6 is all in Nova Scotia as well. And in season 5, we had quite a large crew. So there were some staple personalities there: Holly, Dylan, Paul. And then Jen and I kind of joined the show. Jen is my co-host on Booze and Bourbon. And so we kind of started to make our way, I guess, onto the show. And now for season 6, what's really cool is it's all female ghost hunters. So Dylan is now our director and Paul is our producer. So it's going to be quite interesting when it starts to air in the spring, because I don't know that there's too many ghost hunting TV shows out there that are all women. So it's kind of different.
So, I mean, did you guys hopefully it doesn't end up like the Ghostbusters movie did, with the, hope we have a different outcome rather than that. Because that one...
I hope so, too.
But that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat. So, like I said, there's both season 5 and 6 kind of in the back of my mind right now. But season 5, we really started to get into using different types of pieces of equipment. And now in season 6, we're really comfortable with certain ones. There is one certain piece of equipment that I don't know if it's going to make it until the end of season 6. And that's a Ouija board, because that thing is freaking crazy. I don't even know where to begin with that one.
Well, maybe you can give a little insight in this. I have a problem with my belief system on this. Okay, so I was going to come to you as if, my belief is, I don't believe in ghosts at the moment. I have in the past, and I've gone through all kinds of different phases of beliefs. Kind of going down different rabbit holes and different thought processes. But I don't believe in ghosts right now. But Ouija boards, I want nothing to do with. Like, they creep me out. Like, I don't know why they bother me so much. When if I don't believe in ghosts, why would I care about Ouija boards, and why would they, freak me out?
Right. Yeah, that's different. I guess when it comes to the paranormal, there's just so many facets of it too, and I don't think anybody 100% truly knows what ghosts are about, and the darkness behind Ouija boards and inviting certain spirits in that shouldn't be in, and attachments, and it's all really weird. And I'm too trying to navigate my way around my belief system. It all kind of started, I was intrigued by the paranormal when I had an insane dream, and it was the exact same time that my grandmother was dying, and it was about her saying goodbye to me. And when I woke up in the morning, it was a phone call from my mom telling me that my grandmother had passed away. And I was like, I know. And she confirmed the time. And so that was the first thing that really got me intrigued. I was scared of ghosts growing up as a kid, but never really thought too much about it until that experience. So I started doing a lot of reading. I mean, so many different people have so many different views on it. And then, growing up and, are ghosts real? Aren't they real? I too had my own belief system, not necessarily in a Ouija board, because I used to play with it as a kid with other teenagers, and that's what girls do at sleepovers, right? But
that's not when we're younger. That's not what we assume girls do at sleepovers. We don't assume they play. We hope they play with pillows and hit each other lightly and laugh and giggle. Right. That's kind of
Yeah, sometimes Ouija boards are involved. I hate to break it to you. But there have been things that have happened on this show. And unfortunately, I can't tell you right now just because it's not going to come out until the spring. But there have been things that have happened that have completely crippled my belief system in me thinking that I'm safe when I truly am not. So that's been an eye-opener for me. And as far as Ouija boards,
physically safe, you mean?
I feel like I'm physically safe when I'm not in that certain haunted space. Right. When I'm in the comfort of my own home or somewhere else, yes. But in that specific location, no, I didn't feel safe. It was very strange.
Yeah, I guess I know you can't go into it too much, so that's fine. I'll leave it at that. It's funny you mentioned your grandmother, and that's the way that you kind of got into it. Was we had when I was taking questions or ghost stories from people on Twitter. I don't see them in the chat right now, but a fellow named Najmir said almost the exact same story, except that they had never met their grandfather, and the one thing he remembers was that one evening he woke up in the middle of the night. Woke up, saw a shadowy figure in front of his bed, told his parents the next day, and they described him, and they showed a picture of his grandfather that he had never met. And he said, he barely remembers it, but he said, all I remember is saying, that's the guy that was in my room last night, or whatnot. And it seems that, and my mom had the same story with her grandfather the night he died.
Okay.
I mean, we're working in threes now. It's the power of threes.
That's true. That's definitely true.
But
We kind of discovered the power of three with three women back in season 5. The episode just aired, and we were at a place in Yarmouth that was an old captain's house, and we affectionately called it the Demon's House. But we were playing with a Ouija board. There was 3 of us women, and one of the girls on the show, her name's Veronica. She is a practicing Wiccan. And so she was very, very spiritual, very sweet, very helping and nurturing. And so she wanted to help whatever was trapped in this Ouija board to leave the Ouija board. And
how nice of her.
That started to come, I know, but the answers that started to come out of the Ouija board, honestly, it didn't make sense entirely at the time. But here we are, halfway through season 6 of filming, and now the answers that were coming from the Ouija board make perfect sense.
Wow.
Wild. So you guys came in, you and Jen both came on to Haunted, 4 or 5 seasons, didn't you say? Was it on the 5th season? Or?
Yeah, so we came into the 5th season, so they were quite established by the time that we got to be on the show. But good news is, I think there's going to be more than season 6.
Oh, good. Nice. There you go. Spoiler alert. No, spoiler. An alert, just an alert. Yeah, it's weird. I recall I played with a Ouija board when I was, 13 or something like that with some friends out in the middle of nowhere. And I have this memory of the lights going out in the house after we used it for a few minutes. And then there was this man in a yellow slicker outside the house. And we went outside and never found him. But I don't know if it was a ghost or just a creepy old dude. I mean,
the time is a little coincidental, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was a little odd. And not to find him out in the middle of nowhere. Literally, we were in a place called Long Stretch Road. And it was in the middle of nowhere. But
right.
Anyways, but so you've probably got to see some pretty interesting, probably some houses you've gone into. And what kind of gear do you use to when you go into these places?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily always go into a haunted house. We'll go into sometimes museums or old jails, even like the Fortress of Louisburg. I didn't get to be a part of that. That was the very beginning of season 5. But we go to lots of different locations, so it's not just necessarily homes. And because of that, we have to have so many different types of gear. So we have what I would call a non-conventional gear would be the Ouija board. Also, one of the girls on the team, she often brings a candle with her, just to try to gauge how the smoke is coming up from the wick. And also, if it's flickering a certain way, she starts to feel a certain vibe. And sometimes it's a comforting thing for her. And then we get into electronics. So, of course, we have lots of cameras. We also have CCTV cameras that have infrared, so they're able to see in very, very dark situations. And we also have what's called a FLIR gun. So it measures temperature. If you shoot it at the wall, you thought there was something at the wall there, and you start to see that an area outlined of maybe a human that's really cold, you're like, holy crap, that's definitely a ghost. And then we also use what's called a spirit box. So it sweeps across radio stations very quickly, and it will piece together words occasionally, and it shouldn't be doing that at the rate that it's going. You should only hear, if it's actually sweeping through radio stations and you're getting a radio station, you should really only hear like bleh instead of a full word or a full sentence. So that's really intriguing. And we also use K2 meters, which will definitely tell you if there's electromagnetic frequencies in the air. So that's kind of cool as well. But there's lots of different things that will help us detect a ghost. One thing that's super, super easy to do is if you have a voice recorder on your phone or if you have an audio recorder, you can just kind of talk to the space and then listen back. And oftentimes you'll hear things that your ear didn't pick up while you were having this conversation with the space, but it will come up when you re-listen to it. And I had that happen to me kind of recently, and it freaked me out because it was certainly an old woman's voice, and she was answering a question for me.
And that was was that through the radio waves?
That was through, just using an audio recorder, a small handheld audio recorder.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And if she's old, it was probably a ghost because old people don't know how to use technology. So, I mean, you have to assume that it was a ghost.
Have to. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's also times where you could use a flashlight and ask a ghost or a spirit to turn a flashlight off. And sometimes they have the ability to manipulate electricity, and sometimes they can do that for you. So that's also maybe an unconventional piece of ghost hunting equipment.
Victor in the chat asks, isn't a Ouija board a poor medium as you can never tell what you're calling? He always heard it wasn't something to play around with. And I agree with the second half of that for sure, that it was, I would have believed it was nothing to play around with. But like the Wu-Tang Clan, nothing to fuck with, but that's,
Exactly. No, he's 100% right. If you don't know what you're doing, honestly, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I like to get into the ritual of smudging myself after I leave certain locations just so I don't have any attachments. Because, for one, I sometimes think the whole Ouija board thing is a farce. And then something exceptionally strange will happen. And I'm like, oh, okay, we shouldn't be doing that. Or I always want to make sure that I address the board in the very beginning and only invite certain spirits in, and then also to close out the board every single time.
Yeah, because the people in the chat, that's what they're saying is, Dental Misorder says that Ouija boards aren't safe, not even a protective circle with the use of amulets. They're portals for imposter spirits, he says. Imposter spirits. Now, have you heard of imposter spirits?
I have, yeah. I've also heard of potentially children as ghosts, not really being ghosts, but being something a lot darker.
Oh,
and just trying to manipulate.
Okay.
And go on. You can expand on that. I'm interested. I'm interested in that now. What do you mean now with children?
I've heard from a lot of people that children can't necessarily be ghosts. I don't know why. That's one thing I completely don't understand. This is just something that I've heard. Right. But if there's a really playful ghost and it wants to play with you, wants to play with the ball, wants to encourage you to go to a certain space, it's basically not a child. It's a demon or a dark energy that's just looking like a child. That's also kind of one of the premises behind the movie The Shining, where there's the two twin girls.
Right.
It can often be portrayed that it's a much darker entity than just two twin girls.
Gotcha.
Of course, yeah. Interesting. So they kind of take the body of the children, like and possess kind of type of thing. Is that?
I don't know. I just don't know. It's a topic I'm not 100%
well,
sure on.
I guess there's no manuals for any of this kind of stuff, is there?
There isn't. There totally isn't. And I've heard that when people pass too, that they're able to choose their age, and a lot of people choose the age of around 30. So it's all unknown. It's all unknown. No one knows.
So the other side of your whole podcast with your partner Jen is the bourbon and the booze. Indeed.
Yes.
So you guys try different bourbons and kind of review it and give your opinions or your different take on it. So now I've heard my favorite thing I heard you guys do or drink was this Poppy. Oh my God, I should know. Poppy Van Winkle.
Pappy Van Winkle.
Sorry,
yeah.
Pappy, yes. And it and I've heard that you can't even, like, you have to basically you have to enter a draw to get this specific bourbon.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
can't.
on a lot of occasions that is the case. People will go onto like a secondary market after somebody has won a lottery in it, and they'll pay a lot more money than what you have the ability to purchase it for when you win in a lottery. So for instance, the bottle that we have in our possession, I think it was around $200 for us to purchase it retail because we won in a lottery, but it will go up to $1,200 on the secondary market. Maybe even more.
Wow.
Isn't that funny? I'm just imagining, when I heard lottery, I thought you'd win the bottle outright. It's like, no, you still have to pay for it. It's like, what?
Yeah. You do. You still have to pay for it. But they're exceptionally hard to find just because they only make so much every year.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's how you do it. And I guess if it's good enough, people will they'll want it. So
True.
Now you were saying
and
this
a
is
lot of
kind of a
people-
pop rocks, kind of a sweet kind of different bourbon.
Yeah, it has like a really different mouthfeel than a lot of the other bourbons that I've had. And the flavors on it are really sweet, also spicy, but not crazy. Like it's very approachable. It doesn't burn the whole way down kind of thing. It's very nice and has great flavors.
Yeah, because when I think of bourbon, I don't think of sweet caramel or any of those kind of flavors. I just think of harsh, burning, ouch.
Right. Yeah.
Personally.
So I think that has to do with a lot of the times when people go to drink bourbon, they don't really give it a chance to linger in their mouth. So they don't swish it around their mouth a little bit. There's also this technique called the Kentucky Chew. I'll demonstrate it for you right now. I am going to look like an idiot, but this is what they do. They kind of chew, and it apparently opens up the flavors, and you can feel it all throughout your mouth. And it's true. It's so interesting because you would think a bourbon is bourbon is bourbon, and so many of them taste so similar. But in reality, a lot of them taste very different. Some of them can have more of an oaky forward taste, and some can have more of a baking spice or caramel or butterscotch taste. I tend to go after the ones that taste like dessert.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm the same way with rum, because there's certain alcoholic. If I drink vodka, I don't have a discerning taste for different vodkas. They're all just vodka to me. But rum is very different. It's I can
right.
I like different kinds of rums, so I can understand how. Yeah, definitely. I understand how the bourbons would have different flavors, but I don't really never equated sweetness to any of them. So that's kind of neat to hear. So what's your favorite?
Yeah,
Have you had a favorite?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of favorites. So one of them is it's made by Weller, and people will call this the poor man's Pappy Van Winkle. And this one in particular that I really like is called Antique 107. So a lot of mapley, caramel, vanilla flavors. And another one is just kind of near and dear to my heart. It's called Angel's Envy. It's actually finished in port barrels, so you get a little bit of that grapey sort of raisiny flavor to it as well. And I call that my gateway bourbon. So I tried that for the first time when I was in New Orleans with my husband Ryan, and I was like, this bourbon you keep talking about, I need to try it, because I was really a wine drinker. And then I had that and I was sold. So that was my gateway bourbon.
Nice. Yeah, wine can be a little too much after a while. I like a little wine once in a while, but it's not something, I don't know. I had to not that I gave up, but I liked rum, but I don't really drink it anymore. I find I can drink vodka, and my little brother came over recently, and we drank vodka all night until 6 a.m, and I still was fine. So now I feel like I have superhuman vodka powers, I feel like, so...
That's great, because I don't. I feel like garbage the next day. I can't control myself.
Well, okay, we have Winning TV has had a ghost story, basically, or just a quick one. When he was, I guess he was doing some work at a cemetery at night. Now, this kind of goes against the whole kids thing, but he said he heard children while he was working in the middle of the night. Like, I guess this was a late evening when, kids aren't playing around.
Mm-hmm.
And he found out that in that cemetery there was mostly, I think, a large percentage were under, like, 15, 14, kind of that age. Some under 12 for some reason. I'm not exactly sure the situation, he didn't go into detail. But, that was kind of a weird thing. And to hear children's... And you
that
said...
would be absolutely terrifying. And sad at the same time, because those are, innocent lives.
Yeah.
Young, so young.
Yeah. Now, with ghosts, I guess I can imagine maybe interdimension stuff, because I've gone down enough rabbit holes and, changed up my belief system and, kind of over the last, like, 5 to 10 years that I don't know, dimensions are something I guess I can kind of get behind or be persuaded to understand a little bit easier how something can appear to most people, or to some people, but not to most, or I don't know, because it's such an anomaly, and I know a lot of people are. It's either these days it feels like a lot of people are skeptics or they're believers. There's really not too many people in the middle, but it's something that it's completely unknown, so it's kind of interesting. There's not more middle ground.
Yeah, no, the interdimensional thing is really interesting, and you have to think too about how we're all comprised of energy, and energy never dies. So where does it go? And it's also pretty interesting when you think of stories like the Conjuring House, for example. It seems as though the ghosts that are in the Conjuring House are stuck in a certain time. And it almost seems like they're replaying, like, on a record over and over and over again. And it also seems like they don't entirely know they're dead. So the Perron family that used to live in the Conjuring House said that there was an instant where their mother was the ghost to the ghosts, and their mother was alive. And it was a very strange situation. Like, she witnessed all of these people sitting at her dining room table in an era of clothing that was, not hers. And they were all looking and pointing and being like, can you see her? Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think there's also an element of maybe time travel there too. It's very strange.
Yeah. Man, there was this envelope video that 2013 or so. I remember watching, and it was all about it was time travel. Well, it wasn't about time travel. It was about this person who had a letter. And it had a picture in it of people protesting, and it said to the future. It was like 2017 or whatever, and it was the craziest thing, because I had watched the video in, like, say 4 or 5 years earlier, completely forgotten about it, and then go up to 2017, 3 years ago, when there was just all the protests were starting one way or the other about different things, and people were out in the street with their, corporate made signs, but no need to get into that, but with their signs protesting. But the point is, I was like, once I remembered the video, I couldn't believe that it's like, wow, maybe this letter is a key to time travel or whatever. But it turned out that the picture was the picture they were holding, and they were protesting. It was some guy who was supposedly the father of time travel, and they were like, release the information now about time travel. So it could have been, it's if it would have been like a Trump protest or a BLM protest from 5 years earlier, then I'd be listening, right? But it could have been.
You just need to watch The Simpsons to see that stuff happen.
Well, that's what people call predictive programming as well. It doesn't necessarily have to mean time travel as much as just planned out events. Now, that's a whole other topic, whether you believe in that or not. See, this is my second interview, Kim, I'll be honest, and I'm going to start keep doing interviews. And the last one I had, I asked the guy what was his favorite conspiracy theory, because I believe everyone believes in some conspiracy theory, So that was there you go. Maybe maybe time travel's yours. I don't know.
No, it's not. I have this fascination with certain celebrities actually not being dead.
I love it. Yep. Oh yeah, we don't conspiracy shame around here. We love it. We've gone down that rabbit hole, and it's fun.
I mean, let's talk about Tupac for a second. Is he dead? I went down a very, very slippery slope of a rabbit hole with Tupac.
Right.
And there are some crazy people on YouTube that claim that he was dressed up like a pilot and went on a jet and went to Cuba, and he's been hanging out in Cuba. And then there's also like footage of him coming off a plane at an African airport, and there are just swarms of people around him, and the dude looks just like Tupac. And like, I'm pretty good at identifying who looks like who, and he looked like Tupac. So,
and there's also the fact that he was apparently, or supposedly, seemingly I should say, putting out music that was supposed to be unreleased, but there's all kinds of references of things that, you know, were like basically in the news that week. You know.
Yeah.
Now
and it's really interesting that we're talking about conspiracy theories, because I am actually launching my very own podcast by myself.
Oh yeah.
And it's called A Girl Named Whiskey, and it's all about conspiracy theories and true crime.
Nice.
Well, there you go. Well, you yeah, there's some rabbit holes. I hope you're ready to go down all kinds of rabbit holes. Now I would like to encourage you not to don't scoff at any of them, no matter how horrible they might sound.
Yeah, and what I've realized in just doing my first episode and having it pre-recorded and everything, I can take an entire week and just lose myself with researching a certain topic on conspiracy theories. And my mind can change 5 different times in between. I'm like, wow, I'm wasting a lot of time, but I just can't pull away from it. It's crazy.
Well, Kim, I am unfortunately I have to be the one to tell you this, but all the good conspiracy videos have been long censored and removed from YouTube over the past 5 years. Everyone I used to watch is long gone.
Yeah.
Or relegated to little other sites like DLive. No offense, DLive. We're on DLive right now as well. I love you, but that's where some people have to go to.
Shadow ban.
Yeah, pretty much, right? That's the way it goes. But that's exciting though. So have you ever thought about doing say that show or any shows live, stream it, live on demand?
Not entirely, not on that show. I have a hard time too. You guys are lucky. You guys live in the same house, so it's easy to get one another together to do lives. Whereas with Booze and Bourbon, my co-host is an hour away, so it's hard to organize that kind of thing. She's really busy too, and she's just opening up her own business. She's just opening up a gym. So it's hard in that sense to do lives. So we've tried to a few times. One kind of failed miserably, unfortunately, just technical difficulties. So you live and you learn. And that was kind of one of those situations where I stepped back for a moment and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. So we've done some videos with our podcast, not necessarily live. And with this new podcast that's coming out, it's really coming from a fictional character standpoint. And in order to do that, I don't really feel like I can put the face to the voice kind of thing. I mean, people right now are going to be able to see me and know who I am and all that kind of stuff. But where it's coming from a fictional character standpoint, I haven't wrapped my head around that yet.
Yeah, well, you can always get clip art and get yourself a little animated character.
Yeah, maybe I need to talk to you about how I can do this.
Oh, there's ways around that. For a while I was anonymous on the internet, just doing some, fun stuff before I decided to show my face. So it's, there's definitely ways to get around that.
Yeah.
But you're out now. I mean, look, you're out now.
I know. Secret is out.
Exactly. So what's the next? You just finished 100 episodes of Booze and Bourbon.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment.
And what's crazy, there's so many ghost stories out there, so I don't feel like the topics are going to dry up anytime soon. No. It's wild. I mean, you can go on and on and on for days, and there's so many paranormal podcasts out there too that just listening to other ones can completely inspire you and say, hey, I never thought about that topic before, but I'd like to do a twist on it like this. So I think there's still lots of more content coming from Booze and Bourbon. I absolutely adore doing the research and doing the scripts and putting together the whole episode. And I have a little bit more time on my hands right now just because I'm currently not filming. So that's where this whole idea of having another podcast kind of came about, but not doing it all in the paranormal. I kind of want to reach a different genre because there's a lot of people that are on my Facebook or on my Instagram, and they are just totally not into the paranormal, so they've never listened to the podcast. So I'm like, hey, why don't we go down a different avenue and see if I can grab those people?
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, you got to kind of, try different things. Well, for me, it's to keep myself interested. I don't like to dwell on one subject or topic too long. Other than
fair, especially if you're a creative person, you need to constantly be doing something different.
100%. But where was the coolest place you ended up in the last year or so with that show, with the haunted show? Your favorite place?
The old jail in St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
Oh, St. Andrews?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Now, which
really
building
nice
was it?
Place. It's called the Old Jail and Courthouse. And the last hanging in New Brunswick was done there. And they have, it's a really creepy little tiny jail. I mean, everything's made out of stone. There's actually no windows. There's just kind of spaces in between the stone, so like a bird or a bat or anything could fly in. So you just think about the inmates and being there in the dead of winter, and how did they stay warm? Did they die of being frozen? Did they die of starvation? They were listening to the gallows built right outside of their window, and then they knew what their fate was going to be next week. Like, it's a really creepy spot. Yeah. And they even have a noose just hanging there. It's like, okay, could we get any more literal right now?
They hit a real noose. Wow. That's rare.
Yeah. It's gross.
Yeah. Well, it's a reminder, keeps everyone in line. We should have those we should have gallows and nooses lying around here, all around, just so we keep everyone in line, just to, know what's... Come on.
A terrible way to go. And you know what? This hanging was like the last hanging. Then this guy apparently haunts the place. The last hanging, it was botched. So they had to do it a second time.
Ouch. How do you get hanging wrong?
I don't know.
I mean, that seems like kind of idiot proof. I understand the electric chair, the needle thing. Maybe you don't hit the vein or the power doesn't work properly. But the hanging seems like a pretty tried and true method of taking someone out.
You would think so.
So that guy was haunting.
In some cases, it's not.
so apparently that guy was haunting the place, was he?
Yeah.
Well, at least it was like his home. I mean, it's nice that they have a home anyway.
I know. I don't know. I understand, I guess, the theory of if somebody dies in a certain location, then that's where their ghost stays, especially if it was a traumatic experience, that negative imprint of energy. But I feel like that would be an exceptionally sad place to live in purgatory or live on repeat over and over and over. Because of like the overwhelming sadness that he would have had there when he was alive. I guess people would come by and like ridicule him and say things to him and just like really try to get him upset. So much that they actually had to move him and take him to a different town just to try to get away from the location for certain days for his own mental health. Not that they were overly aware of that back in the day, but they did take him away from the jail just so people would stop ridiculing him. So I think that would be an awful, awful, awful place to be a ghost and to continuously haunt.
Yeah, that would be one of the shittier places.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the house. I know you wanted to come over to the house, and now if we came over to my house right now, which apparently my older brother claims is haunted, and while other people, has seen things in here I haven't personally. What would you bring, and what would you try to do to determine whether or not you would believe my house would be haunted?
Oh, that's a good one. I would probably bring a spirit box, because I think that's kind of, if you can't seem to get anything out of any other piece of equipment, then use the spirit box. It's like the ultimate backup plan. But I would also like to bring an audio recorder just to see if I could hear anything come through.
Well, you're all set. We have quite the audio recorder already set up here, right?
Yeah, you do. Well, then here's my question for you. Do you ever have a lot of electrical malfunctions or like weird frequencies pop through?
100%. I hear what sounds like truckers in my headphone a lot when I'm recording. Now it doesn't translate onto the recording, but it definitely comes through my headphones. And also, when I was trying to think, it sounds like just truckers though. And but there was a time when I was starting a few years ago. I was starting a show up, not this one, but I was starting like a show where I'd have people over to the house and interview them about music. And I was setting up the cameras. Now I've shown you this clip, but I was setting up the cameras and had everything going. And I looked at the camera later, and there was this little dot bouncing around in a really weird way. And I know that it was a piece of dust. In my gut of guts, that's what I think. It's a piece of dust. But I still had this reaction looking at it, like I was just like vibrating. I was like, oh my God, what is that? Because it was moving so, it just didn't fall down, but it's a speck of dust. I could have moved and it flew around and whatever, it was not a ghost to me. It wasn't an orb.
Cry.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ. Yeah. No, I had a visceral reaction to this piece of dust. And, but I know it was a piece of dust. I had brand new lights in here, brand new lights to me that were in a basement for like a month. And I knew they were dusty. And anyways, but how do you explain a visceral reaction like that?
I don't know. Your mind can take you to some places that I think for a lot of people who are like super diehard fans of like TV shows that are ghost hunting shows and stuff, I think sometimes people want to believe so badly that they look at a screen where there's pieces of dust and they're like, oh my gosh, it's an orb. It must be my mother because she passed on, this week 5 years ago. So I think sometimes people want a situation to happen so badly that they create it in their mind. Just by looking at our TV show and seeing it for the first time on screen, I'm like, oh my gosh, if there are orb believers watching this show, they're going to think that we are exceptionally haunted. Just because the CCTV cameras, they pick up so much dust and just the way the light's shining or whatever it is, there's a lot of weird looking things at weird looking times, but it happens so much that we literally don't think about it anymore.
So in our chat, there are some people that have been sharing their stories, in kind of a condensed version. And here, one of them is CK Benza here says that this is kind of wild. He had some black darkness with incredibly sharp claws tear his T-shirt and pillowcase once when he was a teenager. And that was, and he's always felt it like a bad demon. He said that he screamed until it passed and the T-shirt was ripped in the pillowcase. Not a scratch on him, though. It says here, and his dad told him to go back to sleep even after he saw the torn shirt and pillowcase. Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me? That's insane.
I don't mean to laugh, CK. I'm sorry. But that's your dad telling you to go back to sleep. Oh, my God. That'd be brutal. Best he could describe was a blackness. He's saying here, best he could describe was a blackness with sharp claws that made clicking noises when they came together. It tore at me and just moved out of the window and through the wall. Holy shit, sir. And this guy's not one to be all crazy and wild. Whoa. CK here. He's a pretty normal dude.
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Wild. Anyways, yeah, I mean,
So has anything happened to him since then? Is that like a one and only situation?
He said it happened when he was a teenager. Now that we put that out there, we'll wait a couple minutes and he'll, only one time. They're asking in the chat as well, but it's that's wild. Yeah. Anyways,
that's insane.
But I mean, you know what? If you're gonna believe
that actually brings me to a story. It didn't personally happen to me, but I have a friend who was adopted. And when she was adopted into a very Christian family. And she wasn't going to be adopted until she was a teenager. Instead of it's a lot of, baptized, sorry. She wasn't going to be baptized until she was a teenager. And I guess for the most part, people do it when people are babies, I guess. Mm-hmm. But in this situation, she was waiting until she was a teenager. So I hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks. Her baptism was coming up. I saw her a few days after her baptism and I was like, oh, how was the baptism? And she's like, well, it was fine. She's like, but something really weird tried to scare me before I was baptized. And I'm like, oh, tell me more. And so where her room was, there was a hallway, and between her room and directly across was another room, a guest bedroom. And she was the only child, and her parents' bedroom was down on the main floor. So when she was upstairs, she had the whole upstairs to herself. There was a mirror in the guest bedroom. So when she was laying in her bed and her door was open and the guest bedroom door was open, she could see herself in that mirror. And so the night before she actually got baptized, she woke up in the middle of the night and saw a small creature on her bedpost with glowing red eyes. And she said it looked like it had claws and it was trying to come after her. And she ran downstairs and she told her super religious parents, and they weren't like, oh yeah, go back to bed. They're like, no, dear, that can happen. I'm like,
that can happen.
That can happen. You could just sleep down here with us tonight. It'll be fine. You'll be fine tomorrow.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that's so. And that, you know what? That's kind of an interesting segue. The CK gave us an update here that he usually doesn't delve into that spirit stuff, but he said the room had quite a history that it happened in, and his stepmom used to call it the sin room before he moved in. And but he's a believer in Jesus. He said it only happened once, and yeah, so that's pretty wild.
Yikes.
Yeah, and a lot of us, I think, in this chat, I would have to say, are God-fearing people, but I don't know if that. I don't know that necessarily cancels out any spiritual, encounters that people have along the way, in that regards. I don't necessarily think that one has to discredit the other, spirits and a creator. I don't think necessarily,
I think with any good, there also has to be bad, right?
Which is what I think a lot of most of us God-fearing people are, well aware of. That's that's kind of how it works, right? But anyways,
yeah.
And that's what kind of the feeling was between your friend's story and CK here, is that if you're going to believe in the paranormal at all, you have to assume there's going to be both, good spirits and bad spirits, if you're going to believe in that at all.
Definitely.
That's why I stay away from Ouija boards. Well, it's just because our niece has one.
Well.
Our niece has one.
She wants one.
Oh, she wants one. And I'm trying to convince her mom not to get her one, basically, or I would.
She's wanted one for like 3 years. She's
whatever
10
you do, don't get one that's made personally for someone in Salem that like comes with like a curse or a spell or something like written into it, because we were gifted one of those.
Someone learned how to code.
Like, I guess
they learned how to
this guy that we met in Cape Breton, he was like, yeah, I got this Ouija board made like personally for me in Salem. It comes in this really cool box. It's hand painted by the woman who created it, and comes with a stick of sage, and he was like, I really don't want it in the house anymore. And we're like, oh, did you ever use it? And he's like, no, never used it. But, I've got a daughter now, and I was using it kind of as a decoration. And if anything ever happened to me or her, I wouldn't want that to be the blame. And I'm like, so you automatically think that it's an evil thing. And then he gave us the Ouija board, and we've been having fun with it ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, so much fun that it's actually in Jen's outside, like in her, she has a small little tiny shed in her backyard far away from her house.
Right.
And that's where it is, because it was in her house, and then some weird stuff started happening, and she's like, I can't do this anymore, so it went out into the shed.
So now the shed is going to end up like the building at the end of Ghostbusters, where it just like opens up and this green light shoots out of the top of her shed.
Maybe I'll keep you updated.
Get it on video if it does, because that would be awesome. But,
yeah, it would be crazy.
Well, look, Kim, thanks for stopping by. We're almost at the end of the show here, and might as well cut it off before I say something horribly silly and stupid. This was lovely, and thanks so much for coming by.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and it's always nice to see the both of you guys.
Oh, you too, Kim. Right on. Well, Kim, the Booze and Bourbon podcast. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Watch this.
Fancy.
Oh, because she has 83 subscribers on YouTube. You guys do. So what we need to do is get that up to 100.
Boost it up.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can get you up to 100. I think we
problem.
might have that kind of that kind of pull, that kind of draw, that kind of. Anyways,
You guys are awesome. Yeah,
see
my
what we can do.
platform's more like, actually Apple Podcasts because, we're all audio.
Mhm.
And then our other good platform is Instagram. There's lots of good things going on our Instagram, which is Booze and Bourbon spelled out.
Nice. Yes, we talked a lot about ghosts today, but they do touch on booze probably just as much. It's a good 50-50, is
More
it?
so ghosts, to be honest.
Okay. Well, it's all good. I like the route of the conspiracy theory that you're planning on going down. See, that's my racket. If you ever need any alternative opinions, let's say, of things, please feel free to hit me up.
I will probably hit you up next week.
Hey, sounds good, Kim. Thanks a lot for coming by.
Thanks so much. Have a great night, guys.
You too. See you later.
Bye.
There we go. Kim from Booze and Bourbon. Thanks so much for popping by. It was awesome. Okay. Watch this. I'm going to close this off and then maybe. I'm sorry it was so choppy, guys. I saw the concern in the chat, but I kind of jumped in and just went with it and kept it going because I don't know. I felt like that was the thing to do. But anyways, that was nice. Now I understand it wasn't for everybody, but what is? Again,
She was very good. I enjoyed listening to Kim.
Oh yes, yeah. I understand why they have like an audio podcast and why
Right.
that's because they're very both of them are very well spoken. Evil feeds on depression and fear, Paul says. Yeah, well, I agree. And yeah. Anyways, like I said, it's it's a different. I'm enjoying talking to. I'm trying to talk to different people with different things. Why not?
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe insert my opinions, maybe sometimes not. I don't know because I don't know. I always have to talk to someone who topics about which I'm well versed on necessarily. Like I don't know much about ghosts. I forgot. I was gonna tell her about Colleen though. I forgot because I thought you would have got a laugh out of that.
Oh well, we'll have to bring her back on.
There you go. That's right. Maybe her and Jen.
Yeah.
Well, I know Jen's busy, but maybe
Right.
we'll never know. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, guys,
Maybe you can stream snipe them. Oh yeah.
they don't go. They don't do live. No.
Sorry.
Anyways, look. Let's see here.